Some of the best birding in the continent happens along the Atlantic Flyway in autumn, if you know where to look. And I know where to look. There are national wildlife refuges from Jamaica Bay in New York City to Pea Island in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Waterfowl and other birds just pack right into them. And I should know because I've hit just about every one of these national wildlife refuges along the eastern seaboard. This is my number 2 favorite, Bombay Hook. I'm not just going to tell you why. I'm going to show you how. Make your first stop the visitor center. Get maps, get guides, get advice. And the gift shop, it's like one of the best in any national wildlife refuge I've been into. So good, in fact, that I bought the shirt. The refuge covers about 16,000 acres in central Delaware along the western shore of Delaware Bay, which is a lot because Delaware is only this big. You come off the road into a little bit of a woodlot, then up into a horsetail marsh, and there's water on both sides, probably with waterfowl in them, but I can't see past the horsetails. 80% of Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge is tidal salt marsh, but the boardwalk trail is the only place in the whole refuge that lets you walk out into it. The boardwalk trail loop is about a half a mile. It was built back in the 70s and then 2010 I think it was renovated, so now it's handicap accessible. The boardwalk trail comes before any of the pools and it's best hit early when it's most lively. Raymond Pool is the first impoundment. It tends to be the shallowest with big mud flats. The first 3 pools all have observation towers that are just a short walk away. So this is Raymond Pool, and you gotta know, normally there'd be a lot more water, but this is mid-November and it's been one of the driest periods. In fact, much of New Jersey is on fire right now. So we're not seeing quite as much as we might normally. Still, it's pretty good. I mean, take a look at this, greater and lesser yellowlegs together. Just look at this. The Dunlin are blasting over Raymond Pool. They're not settling down because they're being chased by a merlin who's looking for lunch. Well, breakfast. Semi-palmated plovers. I thought maybe most of them had gone through by now, but nope. Pectoral sandpipers, judging by the yellow legs. Every national wildlife refuge handles disturbance differently. Some just won't let you get out of the car or far from the car when you're along these roads. At Bombay Hook, walk anywhere you want because all these grasses keep you from getting any closer. You can't get off the road anyway, and waterfowl kind of knows that. But at most of the roads along the Atlantic Flyway, you can drive it, you can walk it, you can bike it. In fact, they even have a $2 admission fee for bikes on this road. And that's important to know. Through seasonal changes, especially in migration, the birding is going to change by the week. In a dry November, it looks like this. But my last visit was 2 months earlier, in early September. In fact, I'll be showing you sightings exactly 2 months apart, September 10th and November 10th. Oh, really? Horned grebe, I wasn't expecting that. Horned grebe. Now you really know I'm here in November. Here's something you might see in November that you won't see in September. Bottleheads, just coming into winter over. Big difference between being here in September and being here in November. Normally, this time of day, those islands would be covered in wading birds just sitting and roosting. Some of the birds you might see in September, but not November. Double-crested cormorants. You might see greater yellowlegs together with short-billed dowagers. There are terns here, mostly foresters, and a little bit later in summer, royal. During the height of migration season in mid-September, you're going to see a lot more shorebirds and a much bigger variety. In fact, I live in Maine where I don't see baird, sandpiper very often, but here, they're not that hard. American avocets collect in these pools in later summer, and I'm still seeing them all around, except I'm seeing them more offshore on this trip. Black-bellied plovers are abundant in September, not so much in November. Oh, I have a soft spot for this location right here. 30 years ago, I had a white-winged tern here. It's a Eurasian equivalent of our black tern here, and it was my lifer, my one and only. This is the observation tower for Sheerness Pool, which would be a great pool if it had any water. It's been such a dry summer. Oh, and one other thing about a coastal plain, no hills, no nothing. There is nothing to block the wind. On the other hand, I've only seen one mosquito all day. Sheerness Pool is the largest of the 4 pools. I got 40 American black ducks, 1 mallard, and 1 blue-winged teal. What'd you get? Well, there might not be that much water in Sheerness Pool right now, but just across the road on the ocean side, the falling tide reveals all kinds of mudflats to just sit and feed. So when you do Bombay hook, and you should, make sure you spend a whole day here and catch it at all of its tides. It's changing light throughout the day. Spend at least a day. Personally, I'm doing 3 days. Parson Point Trail. Supposedly a nice walk in the woods. Whew. First time I've done that trail. That was better than I thought. I don't want to say it's a dry November, but usually when you take Parsons Point Trail to the end, you come to a wetland. It's all mud. On the other hand, there's a lot of footprints in the mud, and at least I know one critter that made them. Look at that fox. And of course, deer prints all over the place. Boy, don't you see this a lot. If you get a low, flat, wet area, any change of elevation at all, and you can get a climax forest. There are great horned owls, barred owls, and eastern screech owls all over this refuge. And I'm not going to find them. Bear Swamp Pool. Boy, this is where the action is today. Green-winged teal all over the place. They're spooked up by northern harriers and bald eagles going over. And if you think they're spooked, the Canada geese are going crazy because the bald eagles are actively hunting right now. Northern harriers mostly eat rodents and amphibians, but they can take songbirds, and they certainly make the green-winged teal nervous. So does the peregrine falcon. But as long as predators stay perched, everybody relaxes. Bear Swamp Pool. Now there's something you should know. This is the Atlantic coastal plain. It's as flat as a sheet of paper. In order to have a pool like that, it's going to require a little construction, which is what they did about 61 years ago. Bear Swamp is actually the original name for the area, even though a black bear has not been seen in Delaware since 1905. Boy, that is some good mud. I really can't count how many green-winged teal are out here in Bear Swamp Pool. Let's just say a few thousand. Most of these birds are usually here, but two sandhill cranes? No. Bombay hook evolved from the Dutch name Bombay's hoek, meaning little tree point. Dutch settlers cut salt hay from the marsh, shot ducks, and trapped muskrats. Because is there anything yummier than muskrat? In 1679, McExit, chief of Cahinsik, sold Bombay hook wetlands to Peter Bayard, an early Dutch settler. Price for this area was 1 gun, 4 handfuls of powder, 3 waistcoats, 1 anchor of liquor, and 1 kettle. Honestly, I probably would have paid a little more. This is utterly amazing. I think there may be like 20,000 common grackles swirling around Bombay Hook right now. Bombay Hook is surrounded by hayfields and cornfields and sod farms, and there's a lot of food, and all these are just migrating through in huge flocks. This is Sheerness, or Fini if it's French, pool, which is the freshest water in the entire refuge. And because it's fresh, you have a better chance of beaver, muskrat, turtle. Geez, the turtles. I was hoping they'd vocalize. I'm trying to learn my turtles by ear. Because Sheerness Pool is the freshest water, it's the only place I'm finding gadwalls today. Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. It's my second favorite. In the next video, we're going to hit my first. So, am I a bald eagle?
You're close.
I'm not quite. You can subscribe right now while watching another blast of blackbirds.